were they made in the editing process as to just how bloody, how violent this particular film would
question. He points out, first of all, this is the first Hammer Films. It was great to see that logo in the beginning, and this is the first one in over 30 years. The label is reborn now. But in terms of thinking about how graphic to make the film, could you talk about that compared to, say, horror films of the past?
Sure. I mean, you know, it's interesting because it's funny even that I make genre films because of the kind of movies that terrified me when I was young. In particular, like The Exorcist, to this day, if you show me images of Linda Blair when she's in her Reagan McNeil.
Which I did.
Yeah, which she did, actually, yeah. Actually, Cody and I share a mutual fear, and she has no fear whatsoever. You know, so the idea that somehow I'm doing genre films is a surprise for me, but it's also, I have such respect for genre films for what they can do, and at the same time, the idea of exploring your fears is very, very exciting too. And frankly, Hammer Films, my memory of them is being a kid and watching them late at night on like Channel 9 in Los Angeles at like 11:30 and hiding from them. And so there's something quite pleasurable about the idea that somehow now this is the relaunching of a label that used to basically scare the hell out of me. But it was, you know, I don't remember. I remember very bright red blood. I think it was very stylized, but there was a level of graphicness, but certainly not, you know, flesh tearing apart. But they were very lurid images, and the blood was bright red, and there were heaving bosoms, and all of it was very sort of exciting and also scary. But in terms of the level of violence that we were doing here, I guess I tried again, you know, I kept going back to the novel. I mean, what was important to me was that I was true to the spirit of the novel, but in the ways that I related to. So I wanted to also personalize the story and to contextualize it by things that made sense to me emotionally. But the book, frankly, is a real horror story. It's like a Stephen King book. And so I guess it wasn't necessarily a conscious decision, let's make it more violent, let's make it more graphic. It was that in the book, it felt horrific, and I wanted to draw out that level of dread and of horror and shock that came from those.
There's